It's time for our cash tag segment. For that, let's bring in Megan Brantley. She's the Vice President of Research at Likefolio. Welcome back to the show, Megan.
Thanks for having me, guys. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you. So we're talking Meta platforms. I guess my question to you on this stock would be, 177% gains this year. It's rebounded significantly. Ad spend is picked up. That's where they make 99% of their revenue at this point. But, stock's getting a little bit frothy here on valuations. Do you have the user data that backs up this move that we've seen in the shares?
Tom, I think that you teed me up perfectly. Whenever we look at Meta, the stock has certainly surged. I think we have it up almost 200% on a year-over-year basis. And it did have a nice report last quarter. As you mentioned, we're seeing some return in the ad market. But whenever we look at this, when we compare all of our mentions of consumers who are talking about Meta, and now this could be on one of its social platforms, this could also be in its wearable platform. So like something like its Quest headset or the new Ray-Ban smart glasses that it's put out. When we look at this, you can see on this chart, I think it's really telling, it's pretty flat for us. So it's up by about 1% on a year-over-year basis, and that contrasts very greatly with the stock run that we've seen. And so when we look at this, we're starting to see a little bit of divergence, and has this run too far, too fast? We break down the social channels because, as you mentioned, this is really what's driving its revenue. We see a little bit of decline when it comes to its namesake platform, so Facebook. We also see some weakness, at least among English speakers, on its WhatsApp platform. We see Threads as a total flop. Those mentions are pretty much encroaching zero again. We just don't see any really traction on that platform for Meta. And then you do see some positive things in Instagram and Reels, which I think this is what's really driving growth. So some positive notes there for Instagram and Reels, and it's definitely nice to see those advertising dollars return. But overall, whenever we look at people who are talking about Meta, we see sentiment declining a bit, and we see overall just staleness in that total mention volume.
Yeah, ad revenue up 23% year over year in the third quarter, Megan. But my question is this, the 180 they were able to do when they invested in the metaverse and they rose headcount and rose expenses, and it hurt profitability and it hurt all these things, and then they reversed it, right? The year of efficiency that we're winding up here. But when I read about these glasses, do you guys have any information or data yet on these glasses? Because in the perfect world, they'd like to say they're going to compete with Siri, they're going to compete with Alexa, they're going to compete with AirPods. It sounds like a lot of things they're competing with, but this has been tried before, Megan.
You're exactly right. So we did take a look at this. We're tracking, they're creating these smart glasses that are integrated with Ray-Ban. And you ask me, this is a significant risk to the Ray-Ban brand because a lot of the sentiment mentions that we're seeing are people saying this is really creepy. There are a lot of privacy concerns saying, what am I being filmed without knowing it? And so, the mentions from people who are actually using this, we see a lot of influencers, a lot of content creators that are trying this out. But from real users, there's a lot of concern, there's a lot of pause, a lot of people who are talking, is this Google Glasses 2.0? So I think that sentiment is going to be really critical, but we don't see this influx of people who are talking about going to purchase and snag a pair of these glasses. Instead, we see a lot of people that say, wait, is this our future? Is this what we're going to be doing, just recording and posting content like this? So I think that there's a little bit of pause for concern there, and also just a red flag on our end that maybe this isn't going to be the revolutionary device that Meta thinks that it's going to be. We also took a look at its Quest 3 device. It launched this VR headset at the end of September, and we're not necessarily seeing a ton of traction there. When we look at the overarching Quest brand, those mentions are down by about 19% year over year, even though they just had a new product products launch. So this is definitely something we'll be watching into the holiday season. This is a lot of times a big gift item or a big gift idea for parents who maybe have kids that are into this type of thing, or maybe a big gift item for people who are into this gaming and VR world. But so far, we're not seeing significant traction in the wearable devices for Meta at this time.
Yeah, they've tried other devices that have failed in the past.
A lot of people have tried these glasses, and it hasn't gone. Remember, Google had them, and they thought it was going to be
Snap glasses. I mean, a lot of these things fail. But Megan, when you look at, I'm looking at your chart of the mentions, and it seems like the stock's outperforming now. Your mention count starting to flatten out a little bit. Is the caveat here going into an election year where ad spend really starts to pick up? Is that something that could maybe tick up maybe some of those mentions moving forward? Because everybody gets sick of the political ads, but they're going to be out there.
Yeah, I think that ad resurgence is a definite tailwind for a company like Meta. I mean, if you think about how many daily active users it has captive, I think it's over 3 billion right now across its family of platforms. So those are a lot of eyeballs and a lot of potential ad dollars that could be funneling this way. And that's really the bullish thesis. But I think for us, we're just wondering, is this now too far, too fast? Are we kind of teetering into overbought territory? So this is one for us that I don't think that we would necessarily play this one to the upside from here.
All right, great stuff, great data. Appreciate it, Megan.
Thanks, guys. You too.
All right, that's Megan Brantley, Vice President of Research, breaking down the data.